Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The last thing anyone expected EA to do with their Star Wars game, back when it was announced, was make it a Souls-like. Jedi Fallen Order came along with the story of Cal Kestis though, and the Souls-like mechanics translated beautifully to Star Wars. Take the role of Cal, a survivor of Order 66 hiding on a scrap heap world. He'll become embroiled in a conspiracy to help another surviving Jedi, coming up against the fierce Inquisitors of the Empire. You're limited to a lightsaber for a weapon, but that's really all you need as you traverse the various planets like Kashyyyk. Seriously, the combat shines so brightly, with the lightsaber customization and variety of dual or single-bladed forms adding amazing depth to the gameplay. The Force abilities mixed in help to balance things out, and sending bolts flying back at stormtroopers has never been more satisfying. Jedi Fallen Order was only the base for what's to come too, but it's an essential building block for the sequel further in the video. While it nails the Souls-like combat, Fallen Order really excels with a fantastic Star Wars story completely separate from the tired Skywalker family. Blasphemous. The aesthetic of Dark Souls is one of the most defining aspects that led to a rise in the Souls-like genre. Blasphemous takes that aesthetic and translates it perfectly into a pixelated 2D platformer style. Taking inspiration from Spanish Gothic and Inquisition imagery, Blasphemous follows the Penitent One, trying to cleanse the land of sin. The gameplay is brutal, requiring thought before approaching foes as opposed to just jumping right in for a hit. Trial and error is the name of the game, with roguelite elements that will keep you grinding until you get it right. The story of Blasphemous is fantastic, but the atmosphere is really just an excellent vibe on its own. It perfectly combines this Souls-like Gothic feel with H.R. Giger-ish style for some truly horrifying enemies. The best part of Blasphemous is that it's often on sale for less than $10. The DLC is all included in free updates too, adding a boss rush mode. Wouldn't that be cool for mainline Souls games? Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Hey, look, a sequel! Jedi Survivor takes all the successful parts of Jedi Fallen Order and tunes them up just right. Now, instead of just the basic lightsaber combat with dual or single blades, you get stances just like real Jedi. Cal Kestis continues his adventures after the events of the first game, trying to seek out survivors of Order 66 like himself. The stance system that takes precedence in battle this time is cool as hell, allowing for different fighting styles mimicking infamous Star Wars characters. One of the most fun is dual-wielding a lightsaber and blaster, which lets you absolutely destroy entire crowds of stormtroopers with stupid ease. The story, as always, is the star of Star Wars, but the gameplay here is just stupidly satisfying. Sure, this might be the better gameplay-wise, but you do still need to play Jedi Fallen Order first for story purposes. Just know that Jedi Survivor is one of the best Star Wars games since the original Battlefront. Ashen. Annapurna Interactive is consistently producing thought-provoking little indies that always turn out charming. Ashen is no different, taking the Souls-like formula and setting it with a more low-poly translation. Ashen takes pretty heavily from the Dark Souls playbook of combat, but the real star here is the integration of a crafting system. The story is a huge selling point too, with a rich fantasy world that's never quite the same on repeat playthroughs. While the Souls-like gameplay is familiar, it does take a few liberties that keep it feeling different, like a passive co-op element that keeps a partner with you. You'll meet others along your journey with motivations of their own, and it's up to your judgment to trust them or not. It's not like Ashen is anything wholly original, but the art style, score, and atmosphere are a perfect Dark Souls light of sorts. It's a great entry point for the genre, and a fantastic way to introduce newer players to the harsh, punishing gameplay. Nioh. Outside of From Software, Team Ninja makes the best in the Souls-like genre. Nioh was one of the first examples of that, taking the Souls-like gameplay to feudal Japan. It combines really cool samurai-inspired combat with Japanese yokai folklore for some of the most punishing gameplay around. Nioh might be harder than the basic Souls-like though. It requires changing up strategies often, and no one build will carry you through the entire game. Patient, slow fights with katana-wielding samurai are broken up by fast and fierce attacks with claws and fangs from vicious yokai. Nothing will prepare you for some of the fights awaiting you in Nioh, and you're gonna die so many times. This might be one of the few Souls-like games I rarely go back to due to difficulty. Also because my original model PS4 sounds like it might explode anytime I play it. Go to Nioh for the hardcore challenge. If you're a casual Souls-like player, this one might be a little bit too much with the difficulty curve. That said, once you do master it, it can be stupidly rewarding to fell a boss finally, after cursing at them for hours. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. From Software is constantly taking different directions with its original Souls-like combat. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice was just one of those, taking out weapon variety for a tale of revenge in feudal Japan. Play as Sekiro, revived from death mysteriously after a rebellion in his kingdom. Fight through the new regime to try and rescue the surviving members of the family you serve, with only your sword at your side. Well, you do get a fancy new prosthetic arm that can have some tricks installed in it, like a giant hammer and fireworks. The main change to the Souls-like battle system here, though, is the focus on blocking and parrying, leading the slow, methodical dance of the samurai as you fight. Against normal enemies, that is, because sometimes there are giant snakes or apes that will just wreck you with no hesitation. Remnant from the Ashes. Don't you just hate it when Lovecraftian evil suddenly emerges from another dimension, wiping out humanity? Me too, and so do most of the survivors in Remnant from the Ashes. Jolhu monsters invading the world are a real buzzkill. Remnant from the Ashes takes the Souls-like combat and gameplay, but adds one simple twist: guns. You'll fight through the worlds of Remnant using guns, makeshift weapons, and whatever you can to take down the invaders and bring humanity back. It's not going to be easy, but Remnant focuses most on using team tactics to take down the terrors from another dimension. Play with AI or others, team up on enemies, and take them down while scavenging to upgrade weapons. Customization in Remnant is wild and the main draw of gameplay. By about the halfway point of the game, you'll have everything upgraded enough to blow enemies away with ease. Lies of P. When everyone clamored for a Bloodborne sequel, we weren't expecting a spiritual successor based on Pinocchio? Hey, it might be one of the weirdest ideas, but it works way too well to question the results. Lies of P puts you in the shoes of Geppetto's puppet, except the world around you is in shambles. During the Victorian era, a strange plague has left your city in ruins, with strange steampunk automatons roaming the streets. The game taps into the best of Bloodborne's dancey, flowy take on Souls-like combat, with a cool steampunk twist and morality system. It wouldn't be a Pinocchio game unless you had to choose your lies after all. Sometimes you'll feel bad, but remember that sometimes lying is the more merciful option for some questions. The gameplay in Lies of P is smooth and probably one of the best around for a Souls-like not made by From Software. There's a lot of potential here, and hopefully a sequel eventually takes shape because I need more. Bloodborne. I have no regrets in saying I replay Bloodborne almost yearly. This game comes back to me like a recurring illness, and I have to get a taste of the hunt regularly to keep going. It's one of the best you'll find for Souls, with a setting that hasn't been attempted since. Bloodborne takes a Lovecraftian twist to an old Victorian Gothic-esque setting. Yharnam has been overtaken by beasts on the night of the hunt, and you've awakened with no memories. Slay your way through the fearsome creatures using trick weapons and a sidearm gun, with the rally system granting health back for taking risks after being hit. I can't get enough of this game, and the Souls-like combat becomes a flowing dance of blood in no time as you tear through the werewolves and otherworldly gods of the Old Blood. If you enjoy it, pick up the Old Hunters DLC. It adds some of the best weapons of the game, as well as probably the best boss fight of any Souls-like with Lady Maria. Just prepare to die a lot. Elden Ring. This feels like the epitome of all Souls-like games that From Software worked on over the last decade and a half. Everything's here, all mashed together masterfully in one sprawling package. Elden Ring offers variety in gameplay over everything else. There are hundreds of weapons for every playstyle, and the massive open world allows exploration the Souls-like genre has never seen. I've been replaying before Shadow of the Erdtree drops, and the combat is so fast, fierce, and addictive that you can't help but keep trying. Even after a devastating loss, you'll learn some new take on how to defeat the toughest bosses. You may spend hours fighting some of them, but when the eventual triumph comes, it's a rush like no other feeling. There you have it, our favorite titles in this genre. Thanks for watching, and feel free to share your favorite games in the comment section below. See you soon!